Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to another Godot video for our Platformer Ninja series. In this video, we're going to be adding some gravity to the character and giving them a jump and a few more animations as well. This series was made possible by the students who purchased my Godot courses on my website. If you're interested in those, there will be a link in the description. Let's get started. First, we're going to come into our player character and we're going to go into the script and we're going to adjust, we're going to add some gravity. Now, gravity is just going to be a force that pushes the character down. And in order to move them down, we're going to manipulate the y value of their velocity. So what we can do here is inside of character body 2D, there's a function called isOnFloor. We're going to use this and only apply gravity when the character is in the air. So if not is on floor, so if we're in the air, right? If we're not on the floor, velocity dot y plus equals, and we can do some value here, say 80. That's the same as our other amount here. Let's run this and see what happens. Okay, first of all, we fall really fast. So there's a difference here between setting our velocity to 80 as a value, like 80, and setting our velocity every single frame adding 80. So that's what this plus equals here means. It means we're adding 80 to the y value every single frame. And you could actually see what this looks like if you print the velocity.y. We run the game. Now we're going to see it printed out here. And it gets all the way to 800, right? So we have 10 frames where we're actually in the air. Then we hit the ground and it stops doing it. Okay? There's a few things we have to keep in mind here. Earlier in the series, I mentioned that move and slide doesn't require multiplying by delta. And that is true. The velocity doesn't need to be applied, doesn't need to have delta applied to it because move and slide automatically applies delta to the velocity when it's moving. However, when we're adding, so plus equals here, to 80, this value, right here we're setting the velocity, right? We don't have to multiply by delta. Right here though, when we add to velocity every single frame, what we're actually doing is we're setting the acceleration. Okay, so you have position, right? And you have velocity, which is change in position, right? And then you have acceleration. What does acceleration represent? Change in velocity, okay? Now, whenever you have change in something, you have to multiply delta. Velocity is change in position. Should have to multiply delta to our velocity, but move and slide does it for us, okay? Acceleration is change in velocity. So we have to multiply our acceleration by delta because it's a change in velocity. So in this case, we actually have to multiply this value by delta because it's actually our acceleration value. So gravity is an acceleration value. There are other types of acceleration values, right? Friction, for example, is one, but gravity is an acceleration value, so we have to multiply it by delta. That also means that we're going to have to increase that number by quite a bit because 80 is going to be too small now. Let's set it to 200 just for now. That's still pretty small, I guess. 500. We're going to be changing this value in the future anyways. Okay, so we can fall to the ground. We've added gravity to our world. Now what we're going to do is add jumping. So in order to add jumping, we can add another input check. So we can say if input dot is action just pressed, UI, except, well, let's do UI up for now. We'll change it later, because we won't be using the arrow keys for jumping, but for now we're going to do it just because it's easy. Okay, now another challenge for you. Can you make the character jump? Can you manipulate the velocity of the character in order to make them jump? I'm going to challenge you to pause the video and try it yourself here. And if you get it wrong, that's okay. So let's do it together. Velocity.y equals negative 300 maybe. That's probably way too much. Actually, it's not too bad, just for the sake of it, an experimental. I'm probably going to set it to 200. Yeah, that feels better for now. Leave it at 200. Pretty cool. Okay, we've got other problems to solve here though, right? So our character's always walking when they're in the air, which looks bad. And they don't flip. They only run one direction. Let's address the flipping issue first, because it's actually pretty easy. So what we can do is we can, in order to flip our character, we can manipulate the transform and their scale. So there's two ways to flip them. One, you could flip them with this flip H property. You can see that that flips the entire sprite along its center. Okay? And that creates this weird jumpiness when we use that, right? That's not what we want. What we can do instead is flip using the scale. So if we uncheck this little link here for the sake of example, and we set this to -1 in the X, you can see that flips the sprite. And it flips the sprite on this origin point. You remember earlier we set the origin point on the sprite. One of the reasons we did that is so that when we altered the X value, or the scale value of the sprite, it would alter it along that point. If we were to keep this chain linked that way, and set this back to 1, then if we were to set this to -1, it would also set the Y to -1, which would flip it horizontally and vertically. So we don't want that. But now we would have to manually flip both of these sprites. I'm gonna be mad at myself for how I set this up. But we'd have to flip both of these sprites manually, both of their scales, and that's kind of annoying. So instead, what we're gonna do is we're going to click on our player. We're gonna press this add child node. And we're going to add a node 2D. Now, node 2D just holds a position and essentially a transform, okay? So it's a basic node that just holds a transform. Our world is a node 2D. We can drag this up to the top here, and we can call this anchor. Then we can grab our sprite upper and sprite lower and drag them to the anchor. Now, we may end up with some issues when we do this, because the animations might need to be adjusted. Let's check and see. Maybe not. Oh, good. I don't think they do. So I was worried that this path right here that goes to the animation wouldn't be correctly updated when we did that, but it was. So maybe that's something they fixed in the newest version of Godot, because my memory is that it used to sometimes break that. You'd have to manually update this path. We don't have to. Perfect. Now if we want to flip our character, we can just set the scale, we can set the scale to -1 on our anchor, and it flips the entire character. Now there are other benefits to this as well. For the player's hitbox, we can put it under the anchor, right? We can put, and we'll end up putting multiple things under the anchor. So whenever we flip the anchor of the sprite, it flips the entire sprite. Let's come into our code, and we're going to grab this anchor, click, drag, hold Control, drop. I'm going to do it up here. Now we have access to our anchor, and we can set the anchor based on our X input right here. So we can say if X input, oh, we already have down here. It seems appropriate to put it inside of our animations here. So if X input equals 0, we don't want to do anything because they're not pressing anything. If it doesn't equal 0, we want to say anchor dot scale dot x equals sine x input. Now you might be like, Ben, why do we need to use sine here? What does sine even do? Sine just takes a value and returns either -1 or 1, depending on whether it's negative or positive. And in this case, X input in the future, hypothetically, could be a controller. And in that case, it could be like -0.5 if they're only pressing the control stick just a little, right? And so the problem is then our X scale would be -0.5, and that would look weird. It would kind of squash our character down. So we do sine in order to make sure that we have either -1 or +1. As of right now, our input is only keyboard, and so it should be, yeah, there we go. Now it's getting mad at me. You see those warning notifications? Okay, but our flipping is working. So with those warning notifications, I'm going to take a second to go to project, and I'm going to do reload current project, but I'm going to pause my video for a second. Okay, so I reloaded the current project from just reload current project, and I'm pretty sure that that solved those warning messages, which again, I believe were caused by moving these two sprites, which are both animated, and putting them under that anchor node. It was still technically working, but was giving us those warnings, and reloading the project seems to have solved that. Now let's create a new animation. We're going to do inside of our player upper, we're going to do new. We're going to call this one jump, because we don't want our character to run while they're in the air. It looks kind of silly. Now we're on the upper, so we'll come to sprite upper, and we'll set this to 0.1 again, and turn on snapping. And then for our jump, I believe, I don't remember which frame it is. For now, we'll just keyframe 0, and we'll set the length to 0.1. Now let's come back to our player lower, and we'll do a new animation, call it jump, and set it to 0.1 down here as well, so that doesn't mess us up. Come to our sprite lower, and we'll come to frame 10, right here, keyframe 10. Put it to 0.1 in length, that's all we need. Now our upper animation, I think we can put this value to 10 as well. Did I get the upper? Okay, so upper animation, press this frame and set the value to 10. Yeah, there we go. Doesn't matter that much, but I'm just syncing them exactly because it's useful. Okay. Now we can, in the same way that we can check to see if we're on the floor, whether or not we apply gravity, we can actually do that for our jump. But there's a big but here, which is these animations are playing at the very end of our logic here. So in programming, logic has a flow to it, right? And an order to it. And if these are playing last, then they will be prioritized. So we actually want to add our jump handling, our animation for handling the jump animation after them, because we're going to prioritize it over them. If we're ever in the air, we want to play the jump animation. That's just how it is. These other animations, none of them matter if we're in the air. So right here, we'll say if not is on floor. Animation player upper. I'll just copy this and change them both to jump. In Godot, you can actually hold Alt, and I can select this and by double clicking, and then select this by double clicking, and then I can change both of them at the same time. Although I have one up there first, so I'm going to click here, then I'm going to hold Alt and click here, and then type jump. Let's see how this looks. Okay, cool, right? It feels pretty cool that in only, what is this, video 4? In only 4 videos, we were able to get a character that can run and jump and move around with animations. Pretty good spot to be in. Okay, that's going to be it for this video. In the next one, we'll probably refine the movement, because right now I'm just throwing in values, and I'm going to end up having us use the exact values from my reference project. Although maybe we'll do a sword slash just because it's fun. Might do that next. We'll see. I'm not sure. Either way, the next video is going to be great. Thank you so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and I will see you all in the next video.